Hey, how are you doing? Since we were just talking about garlic, I figured I might as well get this recipe that I have in my archive up. It's something I did 5 or 6 weeks ago. This is more of it is a recipe, but it's a technique. So you want to do this your own way. So in this one I'm using jalapeno and serrano chilies, onions, and lots of garlic, salt, and water, and a nice airtight vessel. So the things you could do with this is you could put any vegetables in this. You could put carrots in there if you want to. You could put cilantro in there if you want to, or anything. I'm just basically, and this thing, depending on how much you eat this kind of stuff, this stuff could last you up to a year. This is what I'm doing, especially if you make it really, really, really hot, as I do. And it won't last me a year. But anyway, so here's the recipe. So I started out with chopping a bunch of these, and I've never done this before. I'm going to just take a bunch of whole chilies and put them in there. Okay, so into this is basically going to be the peppers, and those are, by the way, those are serranos and jalapenos, and if I had habaneros I'd put them. I'm trying to make this hot as hell. And I did want to say there's people who have an aversion to hot stuff, and I still think you should make this as hot. Of course you can make this with just a couple, but hot peppers are really good for your blood and for your circulation and everything else. And I run into people who don't like hot stuff, and I personally think there's probably a problem with them that needs to be adjusted, because I know there's a lot of thinking that people that don't eat garlic, whatever, it's just not on my program, and so that's basically what I'm talking about. So here's like 5 cloves of garlic in the jar, and so I'm going to show you a way to take the garlic, because people usually crush them with the knife. You know, they do this thing like this where they press the knife and you kind of wind up exploding all the juice out of them. So what you do is you break them open. I already did that. Get all the stuff you can off in your hand. You put them in a jar, and then you just shake them like this. Okay, so you get all your onions peeled, and then you just sort of coarse chop those. Cut them up in all different sizes, basically. Some of that's a little coarse in there, so I'm going to kind of break it up to get it to settle. There's too much air in there. Okay, so that's good enough. So now we just make the briny stuff. So yeah, I forgot to mention the cabbage in there. This is the brine making part. And of course you don't have to do this brine thing, but I like to do it. You can just add straight water and salt and pour that over that jar, but I go to this trouble of making this brine with the cabbage. So the cabbage is in there also, but again, you could just pull some of the stuff out of the jar and do it that way. I like cabbage in all ferments. They sort of have it, or not all of them all the time, but they just have a unique property for fermentation, of course, and that's why there's sauerkraut. So just take a cabbage, just a little bit of the cabbage. Put that brown stuff off there, although that's okay because that's what it's really doing anyways. All this into the NutriBullet thing. I'm going to take some of these big pieces of onion and put them in there. Fill this up with water.
Let me try and get this a little more. It's kind of fine like that. So,
that's all we got to do. And then you just take all that briny stuff and you put that in there. What? What are you laughing at?
You'll see. My board there.
What?
My board up there.
Oh. Yay.
All of a sudden it just happened to be right in the shot.
So you just want all that stuff like submerged in water. And you just kind of look down in there and make sure there's no pockets in there. There isn't. It's all good. And just how that looks is fine. And so then you just take. Yeah, I guess there's like still a little bit of an air pocket right there.
Where did you show us?
Just like right in there. It's not like
okay.
totally covered.
Hold on, let me show. Hold on. It went away. Yep.
So you just take that and you sort of clean this off, and the only reason I do that is
With a tight seal.
yeah, to have a good seal in there. And there's still, I can see that it needs more water. And that's what it should look like. So this is a medicinal chili sauce. It's onions, garlics, and serrano and jalapeno peppers. And it's really good for your blood, really good for getting rid of all those pathogenous invaders and all that stuff. And it's just ferment. And so it's really good for you. And so, like I said, even if you're sensitive to heat, I highly recommend you use this. And just use a little bit. Like when you make something, just take a little spoonful of it. So this is going to go on my shelf and it's going to be ready in 5 or 6 days probably, but I'm going to leave it on there. I leave my stuff on there for weeks actually. And so you'll see this appear in some of my recipes later down the road. So there we go. Okay, so I was cleaning up and I forgot to put salt in there. And usually I put the salt in when I'm doing the brine, but this will work just as good. So generally when you're doing these things, you put about 1% salt in there. So I'm putting that much salt in there and just putting it in like that. And then I'm just going to shake it up again. And that's good enough. So anyways. So here is the finished result. And as you can see, I've gotten into it already, and to somebody that doesn't like spicy food, this would probably last them a long time. And I don't even refrigerate this stuff at all. I've just been leaving it out because I know I'll go through it, but I'm always curious with messing around and doing my own experimentation with ferments. As you know, I have a few jars in my back room that have been fermenting for a couple years and they're showing no signs of mold. I don't know what I'm coming up with, but I'm just doing it for my own edification. So anyways, this stuff is pure raw food, comfort food. The way this stuff smells, oh my God, is just pure heaven. And so you could do this. I mean, ultimately, when you get down with this kind of stuff, you could do all kinds of flavors and just have all of this amazing stuff there. And you can put spices and all kinds of stuff in there. I encourage you to just keep experimenting with all of your food and get a recipe. And for Christ's sake, don't keep using that recipe over and over. Experiment with everything you do. I'll tell you right now, I don't use a recipe ever. If I get curious about something, I have back in that back little glow back there, I have a whole kind of my library back there. I have every great raw food book ever published. I love collecting raw food recipe books. I get ideas, I forget recipes, I go and look at them. I never use a recipe. But anyways, this is such a great technique. You could take this stuff out, put it on raw food pizza, put it in a lettuce taco, put it on a salad. If you're not totally raw, you could have some of this on your cooked oriented taco or burrito, and this stuff would counteract all of the negative effects of eating cooked food or less than good food, as these lovely probiotics do. So anyways, I'm on a blended fast, and or just fasting in general. I'm doing stuff that I'm going to take a not chewing food thing of doing blended fast, water fast, juice fast. I'm going for taking it the longest I've ever taken it in my life. So I definitely want to go this route. I've gotten a lot of inspiration from Taylor Budd. There's a link to his YouTube channel here. He's under the name Jesus Christ on there. Amazing sort of pre-NFL 24-year-old, very wise old soul that's vegan and quite buff, and I'm very interested in his, he does a lot of fasting, and it's just very inspired by a little epic round I had of watching some of his blogs. So I got a lovely soup here. It is sprouted buckwheat, sprouted lentil, mung bean, and garbanzo. It is this stuff. It is hibiscus tea, was the liquid. I didn't use water. I'm trying to avoid using water in this kind of stuff so I can make it more nutritious using celery juice or carrot juice or whatever. And then I have some cumin, some smoked paprika, and some salt in there. And I haven't tasted it, so hopefully it's going to be yummy. I'm sure it is. Oh my God, that's beautiful. Oh my God, that's beautiful. Anyways, so I'm going to be doing some simple stuff with this fermentation. I'm really getting what I want to do with the rest of my life, which is very raw food, live food based, which is mostly live food is sprouts and fermented cultures. So once I start settling into my space I'm going to show you the way I live. I'm still having a tendency to be kind of messy, and I feel uncomfortable just in general of showing you around my house, but I have a whole sprouting room and a whole, like, my back washroom I've turned into a whole place where I sprout, and I keep major jars of all this kind of stuff going on. Okay, this is Keith, Bright Blessings. Support me by supporting my music. Links in the drop down. Free digital downloads on my Bandcamp page. And I make money only by selling CDs. Yeah, you can get CDs directly through me. You can only get my back catalog through me. The only thing that's on the networks that I have is my last CD, which is called Flying Potion. And I have a new one coming out. Oh, a little spicy there. New one coming out in September. Alright, y'all. Have a great day. And a great everything. I love you. I love everyone. And I'll see you later. And take care of yourself. And bright blessings. Bye.